When it comes to simplifying our lives, I think it's a lot more about what we quit, what we stop doing, than about what we introduce into our lives. So thank you for this video idea to Simply Happy Zen, and I'm starting my list. When it comes to our homes and belongings, it's a huge area where we can overcomplicate things because there's so much to choose from. But when I quit excessive material possessions, I realized so many benefits that comes along with it, from less time spent to clean to less stress because of how much you have. Second thing is impulse buying. The majority of unnecessary and absolutely excessive things that I bought impulsively. So I decided to better keep a wish list all the time and write there everything I want before I really decide to buy it. I quit fast fashion. It's a lot cheaper and more eco-friendly if you care about it to buy things secondhand in thrift stores. So there's so many options that I think that fast fashion is not that relevant anymore these days. I quit washing fabrics too often, like bed sheets, blankets, and my clothes as well. I just don't wash it if it's not dirty. It saves time, it saves water, it saves electricity. Number 5, I quit cooking much or cooking well. I come from a traditional family where my mom cooked so delicious, like really delicious. I thought that I had to be like her, so I had to learn how to cook, learn new recipes, all the national things that we eat. But later I realized that I don't like cooking. It's not that necessary. I'm really satisfied with some basic food like a salad and maybe boiled potatoes. Why just spend so much time and energy for something that I think I have to do just because I was born here? I quit ironing too much. I decided that it's a lot more beneficial and time-saving for me to just hang clothes right after it was washed on a hanger, and this way it just straightens itself without my help at all. Or if I really have to, I do iron, but it's a lot less than I used to, because nobody really cares if your clothes is wrinkly or if your face is wrinkly. Nobody cares about those wrinkles, okay? I quit holiday decorations. Now I have just maybe one piece of Christmas lights, maybe a few Christmas tree toys, and that is basically it. And I think it's time saving, money saving, and I can enjoy those decorations at the mall or in the city center, but I don't clutter my space with it. Especially these days, all the decorations, they are so plasticky and cheap. I don't know, just not enjoying this much. I now do not stress out because of how untidy my place is. I don't owe my guests to be super clean, and I don't worry if there's some stain somewhere or if there's dust here. If I'm like too busy to do that, I don't even pay attention to that. So I stopped like being super stressed. I'm okay with a little bit of mess. 9, changing things at home in my interior just because I don't like something. Maybe for some people it makes sense, but for me, if I pass by something every single day, I stop noticing it. And a lot of us actually are built this way. So if the piece is functional, if my wallpaper is fine, then I don't care if it's green. Maybe I do care a little, but not enough to change the whole interior just because I don't like something about it. I stopped holding on to things. Things eventually are just things. You will not be spending the last days of your life thinking about how many interesting belongings you had. No, you will be spending these days thinking about your relationships and experiences you had in your life. So things are just things. I quit wanting everything new. Secondhand is my best friend. It's not that I always buy secondhand, but I find that new is now not more appealing for me than secondhand things. I quit wanting to be happy all the time. In a bad day, when I have a bad mood, when I have bad weather that affects my mood, I stopped feeling like, oh no, I've got to be happy. What's wrong with me? It's just not a healthy attitude. Every single person in this entire world has bad days, and it's okay to have a bad day sometimes. I quit traveling much. I've never liked, traveling as much as it's shown in social media. It feels like people who travel only promote how fun it is without like telling about all the organization things, packing, problems on their ways. And because of that, I don't find traveling as much fun as others, and I think it's okay to travel just a little bit and not much. I quit multitasking. You get to be more productive if you're really focused on one thing, and you get to be really stressed out if you've got to think or do a lot of things at the same time. Overcommitting. If I'm busy, I'll say no. I don't really care. I quit constant busyness. When I was at university, planning wedding, having a part-time job, and all that at the same time, it was like the worst period in my life. So I don't do that anymore. I know that I hate business. I'm just that kind of person. I quit quit answering emails. If there's an email that I don't care about, that I don't need, well, from somebody who I don't know, I don't even bother trying to respond. I'm sorry, it's not worth my time. I quit phone notifications. I have notifications from messengers, like from my work and people who I know, but all the other notifications are turned off because if there's something really necessary, somebody will call me. I quit reading books that I don't enjoy. I had this book Noise that I bought when I was traveling, and it costs a lot for me. I don't usually spend that much on books. When I started to read this book and I did not enjoy it, I pushed through a little bit because, well, I spent a lot of money on that. But later I thought, if I read this book and suffer, it means that I paid for my suffering. Like, what's the point? Along with it, I quit thinking that I have to read or thinking that reading will make me smart. It can come through one eye and get out through the other eye, you know? I don't count how many books I read. I don't try to read more books. I just find some enjoyment in it and I hold on to this enjoyment. And I read because I enjoy it, not because I have to or somebody says that I should. The next thing I quit is games. Never been like very into gaming, but in my life I've played some games, you know? And I'm really glad that I did not continue doing that in my adult life. I saved quite some time with it. I quit shaving my legs and just shaving what I hate shaving, you know? I have my own preferences about what hair I like on the body and what hair I don't like, so I stopped really caring about hair on my legs. First, I was really worried how my family will react to it or how friends will accept it, but you know what? Normal people don't care. Like, normal people have their own lives, you know? I quit doing makeup every day. It's been a long time since I quit that, but if there was one more thing to worry about in my morning, I would be just stressed. I quit religion and I stopped going to church, and I cannot tell you how freeing it is when you don't have to rush somewhere to make up, meet like a whole bunch of people on Sunday, and you have the free day to do whatever you want. I don't know, it's just not for me. The next thing I quit is being greedy about my tech. As a video editor, I've got to work in some heavy programs, and if they freeze or if they render a long time, it's not a good use of my time. So spending a little bit more money on something that you use daily and something that will save you so much time as I don't know, my tech is totally worth it in my opinion. I quit waiting for something to happen to be happy. When it crosses my mind that, oh, if I had this thing, I would be so happy, I'm like, no, you won't. If you're not happy with who you are right now and with what you have right now, it's very likely that you won't be happy if something appears in your life. I quit unrealistic expectations. Now I set only achievable, only real goals for myself, and it keeps me sane and peaceful. I quit gossiping. Of course, I'm not perfect in that, but I try not to tell something about a person that I cannot tell her or him to his face. Constant comparing. Yeah, subconsciously I do that sometimes, but every time my mind starts to compare myself to someone, I remind myself how different we are, how different our lives are, how different our circumstances are, so there's no point in comparing yourself to anybody. FOMO. I stopped being afraid that I'm missing out and started to be joyful about it, because when you miss out on something, you have a chance to just lie down in the evening in your favorite chair with just a book and enjoy your time how you want it and not how people tell you should. News consumption. I spend about, 10-15 minutes on checking news a day, and maybe I should quit even that because it has no positive impact on my life. So I quit thinking that quitting is a failure. Sometimes to pick up a habit, you need to take that up 20 times. For example, when I wanted to take up yoga, I think I quit it 100 times, I don't know, or 1,000,000, I don't know, about 1,000,000. So yeah, quitting is not a failure, it's just a stage on the way of taking up something. I quit pretending that I like something to impress someone. I remember I had a boyfriend who likes football, and I pretended to like it too. I mean, it's not that I pretended. I watched every match. I learned his favorite football players. I was really into that only because he was into it. You know what? We broke up and this time spent on it made no sense. I quit looking in the mirror. Of course, I look in the mirror sometimes, but I find that if I look at it less, I don't get to judge myself. I don't get to evaluate my appearance, my body shape. It's just another thing not to do that simplifies criticize my life. I quit talking too much about my goals. You know, when you tell somebody about your goals and they praise you for that, you already get this psychological reward without even doing this thing. And this may demotivate you and stop you from doing what you want and achieve your goals like in the real life. So I try not to tell about it. Sometimes it's hard, but I really try to. I stopped being radical because I know that today I hate perfumes, but tomorrow I may get a perfume that I don't want to vomit from and I will like it. I know that today I think that this is right, but tomorrow I may change my mind. So I stopped like criticizing other people's lifestyles or different convictions. We as humans, we are prone to changing. What was true for me today may not be true for me tomorrow. I stopped being afraid of difficulty. I'm still on my way. I like this quote that I heard from Ali Abdal: nothing is too complicated, everything is figure outable. I quit being jealous about other nations. Yeah, I tend to criticize my country a lot, but if I think about it twice, I find so many advantages that I have in my country, in my nation, that other nations do not have. So eventually, I'm really glad that I'm here. I stopped being stressed about environment. Like me using a dish soap bar will not change the world as much as somebody at the top stops throwing so much dirt into our rivers. I quit ignoring accomplishments. Accomplishments are a great thing to motivate ourselves to go further, and another nice excuse to celebrate your life. So when I achieve every milestone on my Instagram or on YouTube, I try to celebrate it at least in a tiny way, and it makes my life a little bit more romanticized. This one's weird. I quit eating spoiled and bad food. Yeah, maybe it's some kind of a bug here, because I sometimes think that if I spent money on this food and it went bad, I still can eat it if it's not like too stinky or something, you know. But lately I'm like, do I deserve that? Probably not. And again, if you eat it, it will mean that you spent money on your suffering. So why would I do that? I don't know. I was so stupid. I quit over-consuming information. Now I do not mindlessly take a course whenever I'm busy. I try to not consume podcasts or start new TV shows mindlessly, because it's a waste of time, it's sometimes a waste of money, so a little bit less information, as our ancestor had, is okay. I quit buying sweets for my home. I do go out sometimes and eat something sweet out, but not having it at home helps to reduce the sweets and sugar consumption in my life, and I think it's a good thing for my health, and it simplifies that temptation that I may have more often a lot. I quit drinking caffeine after lunchtime. It is healthy, it is time-saving. Is it time-saving? Yeah, I don't cook, so I guess it is time-saving. And I save money on that, and also I sleep well. I quit the fear of heavy exercise. I used to think that the easier the better, but eventually I realized that I want to do something harder, because your muscles grow, you become stronger when your muscles break, when they are tired, when they have soreness. So I realized that I should not be afraid of heavy exercises if I want to be stronger. I quit staying up late. You know, I've never felt good after 11 p.m. if I'm not in my bed. So like, why torturing myself? I quit toxic relationships. I don't owe anybody relationships, so I don't really find use in having connections with people who have a bad influence on you. I quit feeling like I owe my parents anything. Don't get me wrong, I still am thankful to my parents and I do everything to be a good daughter, but this feeling, this pressure that I used to have all the time, when I felt like I have to call, I have to come, I have to be good, I have to do things that they expect of me, did not do any good for me. So I stopped being afraid of their judgments. I stopped ignoring my boundaries. I don't owe them this. I quit thinking that I have to be friends with all my family. You know, there's this idea out there that your family are the closest people to you, they will be there for you all the time. And on one hand, yes, if you've got an amazing family, why not communicate with it? But if you have, again, toxic people in your family, people that don't respect you, that you don't have anything in common with, then having those relationships, in my opinion, is a waste waste of time. So I prefer to have limited amount of our interactions. You know what? I didn't say that I quit wearing a bra, although it is also one more thing that simplified my wardrobe. Let me know what things that you quit that simplified your life the most. I would be really interested to have a look at it. I also have a newsletter and the Instagram if you want to connect a little bit more often. When talking about simplification of my life, I have to really give a huge shout out to decluttering. And if you are now in the process of decluttering, I really recommend you to watch this video, which is about 23 things to see if you need to declutter. And have the most wonderful day. Goodbye.